Viewers, when Ibrahim Traoré recently released millions of creatures into his man-made river, the whole world was taken aback for a moment. People were astonished. What kind of step was this? Usually when artificial rivers are created around the world, they are stocked with fish to promote fishing. Some create designated areas for animals, like crocodiles, to boost tourism. But Ibrahim Traoré did something no one had expected. He didn't release crocodiles or rare fish. Instead, he chose an animal most people consider nothing more than a wood-gnawing pest, the beaver. But the question is, why beavers? What was Ibrahim Traoré's true purpose? And how could these animals turn this man-made river into not just a tourist attraction, but a self-sustaining natural ecosystem? That's what we'll uncover in today's video. So make sure to watch till the end. Viewers, if we look at Burkina Faso's recent history, we see a harsh reality that has made life miserable for millions of its people: the severe shortage of water. This was a crisis that affected not only humans, but also crops, livestock, and even the very breath of the land itself. Villages had dried up completely. Wells were dug again and again to no avail, and women walked for miles to fetch water that was often contaminated or ran out before reaching home. In such a situation, when a child cried out in thirst, a mother could do nothing but pray. People were forced to mortgage their honor, their land, and even their children for a sip of water. Even the rain seemed to have abandoned them, as if nature itself had turned away in anger. It was during this time that a young leader emerged, Ibrahim Traoré. His arrival brought not just slogans, but concrete action. One of the most significant steps he took was to create a man-made river. Yes, while the world focused on dams and water tanks, Ibrahim thought, if we can't rely on natural rains, why not create a new environmental system ourselves? This vision gave birth to a massive project. Hundreds of kilometers of canals were dug, the land was leveled, and a huge artificial river was built to store rainwater. At first, people were skeptical. Some mocked the idea, others said it was a waste of money. But after the first year of the project, the results silenced everyone. Where once crops withered, lush greenery began to thrive. Farmers' eyes lit up with hope, and livestock drank clean water again. This artificial river was no longer just a water reservoir. It had become a symbol of new life. Children in the villages, who had grown up without ever seeing a real river, now played in the water. Farmers, who once relied solely on prayers for rain, could now grow their crops with confidence. The farmers, now able to irrigate their crops, had become prosperous. The economy began to improve. People started cultivating new lands, and small businesses began to appear in nearby areas. The government called this project a people's revolution, and Ibrahim Traoré started to be seen as a savior. But as with every path to progress, challenges began to appear. And the same happened with this man-made river. At first, when the water was flowing steadily, everything seemed natural. The current was constant, the soil absorbed it, and birds sang along its banks. But over time, the flow slowed. Mud, leaves, and debris began to accumulate at the riverbed. In some areas, the water became stagnant, leading to an increase in mosquito breeding and a decrease in the supply of clean drinking water. Where once crops thrived, now parts of the land started to flood. People began to complain that the water wasn't the same as before, and some even stopped using it altogether. Things reached a point where greenish-blue layers started forming along the riverbanks, a sign of rising pollution in the water. This was an alarm bell. If nothing was done quickly, the project, once the hope of Burkina Faso, could itself turn into a disaster. And this, friends, was the moment when Ibrahim Traoré made yet another revolutionary decision. A decision that seemed simple but was rooted in deep natural wisdom. The first thing he did was to gather all the country's trusted environmentalists, water resource experts, and engineers in one place. They held hours-long consultations. They studied various models, not only from within the country, but also from abroad. They looked at nations using advanced technology to keep their rivers and streams clean, massive filters, water pumping systems, and machines that purified polluted water. But these methods were expensive, energy-consuming, and harmful to the environment. For a resource-limited country like Burkina Faso, it was impossible to install machines every few kilometers to clean the river. That's when Ibrahim once again turned to nature thinking, if a problem has been caused by disrupting nature, the solution should also be found within nature itself. He instructed his experts, we will not burden the land. We will give it a chance to breathe. With this vision, new research began in the country. Finally, the experts arrived at a creature that had remained unnoticed for centuries, the beaver. Viewers, the beaver is a medium-sized, rare animal, usually found in North America, Europe, and a few specific regions. It is often called nature's engineer. This animal cuts down trees along riverbanks and arranges the wood to build natural dams. These dams not only regulate the flow of water, but also help purify it, reduce pollution, enrich the soil's fertility, and maintain a complete aquatic ecosystem. The magic of the beaver is that wherever it lives, life begins to flourish again. Life began to return. Ibrahim decided that instead of installing expensive machines or electricity-powered plants to clean the artificial river, they would release beavers. This decision was strange, unbelievable to the world, and even humorous to the locals, because they didn't know that these small, innocent-looking creatures were in fact among nature's most intelligent and hardworking architects. Within just a few weeks of releasing the beavers along the riverbanks, they began their natural work, without rest, without training, and without any instructions. They started gnawing on the soft trees growing along the banks, collecting branches and twigs, mixing mud and grass to build dams. In just 1 month, dozens of small natural dams had formed in the river. These dams balanced the water flow, prevented stagnation, and slowly began settling the pollution that had been suspended in the water. A few weeks later, when experts tested water samples, they were astonished. The foul-smelling polluted water had become crystal clear and blue. Fish that had once been dying began to return. Birds that had migrated away started coming back to this natural environment. Most importantly, people once again began collecting drinking water directly from the river, without any filter or a machine. But viewers, it wasn't just the water that was restored. The land around the river began to flourish. New grass sprouted, local herbs reappeared, and all the credit went to the beavers, silently working day and night. These creatures live far from humans, never complain, take no payment, consume no electricity, and simply restore the river's life through their natural system. Today, in Burkina Faso, beavers are mentioned in school curricula. Posters of them appear on walls, children hear their stories, and the world sees this model as a successful example. This was the moment the whole world realized that if humans become friends of nature, nature never responds with hostility. And these beavers proved that the solutions to humanity's greatest problems aren't always found in machines, but in the secrets buried deep within the heart of the earth. So, dear viewers, that was our story for today. Tell us in the comments how you liked this video, and for more such interesting stories, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Until the next video, may God be your protector.